What's up everyone? Today my video is on having confidence in yourself and your own value. I'll give you a great thought experiment to exemplify this. Think of a female or a male. Let's just use female for this instance. And she is very physically attractive, in the top 10%. And let's say she has her life together. She's either doing really well in school or she has a pretty decent job. She's got a social life, she's doing stuff, she's going to the gym, exercising, she's got her health in order, and she's working on herself every single day and learning more and more and developing herself and investing in herself. Now this seems like a generally all around pretty good girl. People would want to date her. But let's just assume that for whatever reason, somehow she's not getting approached by anyone. Maybe one or two people that she's just not interested at all, that she just doesn't think is up to par with her. And so, for whatever reason, other things don't work out. You know, she tries online dating and it's just not working out. Or this would never happen. Like, they would get hit up all the time just through like Tinder. But let's just play along with me here. And so they've got, like, let's say every source of potential way of meeting men, it's just not working. She gets friend zoned, she doesn't get approached, and things just don't seem to work. So generally, does that mean she has no value? No, it's just for whatever reason in that time and space right now, something is not working. Now, in reality though, first off, she would get hit up on a lot of different places just naturally. Perhaps she might settle or compromise if she really just has low self-esteem and really just doesn't think she's that great. And that sort of stuff happens, which is kind of sad. On the flip side though, let's say she holds to her own, knowing that she has value, she has a realistic sense of herself, and she knows that she has this level and she will not settle. That's something that maybe you should have. On the flip side though, you want to stay realistic and realize, hey, maybe there's stuff I can work on. Maybe I'm not this, top 10% in looks, and I have a lot to work on in a lot of these areas. So start working on that. And also just realize that, it's not the end of the world. A lot of these value traits can be cultivated. And you have to understand your own value. Sometimes you could be delusional and your value is not there yet. And so you can work on that. On the flip side though, maybe you're aiming too high. Or in this thought experiment, and this could apply to you as well, there are situations where maybe you just need to change your tactics. Why? Because there are females out there who are just intimidatingly attractive. And that intimidation is causing problems. There are also situations where these are quality women, but for whatever reason, maybe they're in this small community of maybe even up to 100 or 1,000 people in their school, in their town, but these people are just not up to par with what she wants, or they're not being forward, they're not approaching her, they're not asking her out to dates, they're not asking her out to dances, and she feels like, this sucks. I don't think I don't have a boyfriend and everyone around me does. That stuff happens, I've seen it. And so, for those types of people, you can have patience first off. Know that your life will change. Waiting 2 to 4 years to go to university, or waiting till after you leave school, or whatever it is, it won't kill you waiting that long, or for your lifestyle or your value to change. These things can work. You'll find that sometimes these individuals, once they get to a different time in their life, they have greater opportunity to meet friends, greater opportunity to meet much more different types of guys. And on the flip side, there are certain things you could do in the present to change your circumstances for sure. To move you towards a lifestyle where you think it can do you better. Sometimes it's small tactics, like perhaps you're just coming across too intimidatingly good looking and you got to change something up. Perhaps you have to, rather than just be that nice girl that doesn't do anything and just hopes one day something will happen, perhaps you can actually start making friends with guys, being more social, you know, maybe asking out guys, you know, in a nice way. It really depends on your situation and what type of personality you are, and just chatting with guys. Unfortunately, it's kind of, I mean, generally speaking, in the modern world, most women are still kind of shy. So again, as an individual, you know, for me, if I was a guy or girl, I can start working on this. And what I find is that generally speaking, you know, there are many girls who are forward and so forth, but some, they're just like, whatever reason, they could be intimidating and attractive, and or maybe not so much, but whatever reason, they can't break through the shyness, and that's good for them, you know. I mean, it's not really good for them, but there's other ways of managing that. Like for me as an individual, I want to, and this is just my own standard, I want to do the best that I can at every possible thing, because almost out of necessity, almost out of like, I want to get a certain standard of a person, I kind of have to start being less shy and opening up and approaching and stuff like that. You'll see a lot of females do this when they're trying to reach up or they're trying to try and work on it. It's not for everyone though. Some people, they never have to do that. They can stay shy, or it's just not, whatever the reason, the need is not strong enough, the pain is not like tough enough for them to have to do it that way. And for them, they found different ways of doing it. Perhaps it's joining a certain community, joining a certain activity or club of interest, and growing that, and just meeting people through social events and befriending a lot of different people and getting introduced to mutual friends. And then slowly, because your value is there and it's just the channels and methods aren't there, slowly, eventually you'll hit up a guy that you really like each other, you start hanging out, boom, it can happen. But you know, back to the main course of this thing, the whole thought experiment, the purpose of it is to show, like, it's to show you an example of a person who maybe has everything together, and maybe someone who should ideally be someone who is eligible bachelor or bachelorette, eligible candidate, but something's just not going on here that's making it work. And that can cause a lot of problems. You know, one, they could start, you know, questioning their own value. Two, they could just, you know, I mean, a lot of things can happen. So there's so many things you can work on to potentially change this. Perhaps it's your area you're living. There's this great interview that you can find on YouTube, and it was Conan O'Brien interviewing a model. Her name's Bar Raffaelli, and she literally almost starts swelling up with tears in her eyes because she admits that she never gets approached by guys, and she's this accomplished model. Now, is that completely true? Later on, there's a follow-up interview, and she's like, well, I do get approached. It's not like I never get approached, but it's just like, you know, not by the people that I want approaching. So that's another thing, you know. You can have an eligible bachelor, and he or she can know their own value, but there's tons of factors out there that are just screwing things up. Perhaps it's the intimidation factor. Perhaps it's just the fact that, you know, she knows her own value, she's being realistic, she's not deluding herself and delusional, but the right guys that she wants who are of a certain standard, perhaps it's maybe slightly unreasonable, or maybe it's reasonable. Like, that's the type of guy she wants to approach her, given her value. Those are in short supply and scarcity, and they're not actually approaching her or doing anything or interacting with her. And it can set up a situation where she causes all sorts of problems that are not ideal. Perhaps she starts compromising, lowering herself to maybe guys that aren't that great or may not treat her right. Again, I don't want to speculate too much, but it could be a whole slew of things. Thanks for watching though. See you in my next video.